Why are inclusive memes the best thing ever? Do disability-specific classrooms hold students back from learning grade-level content? All of this and more on the video edition of the Weeklyish. What is it about memes that get everyone talking? Last week we published a meme on the socials. Here it is. Meme description. Top frames show a gray cartoon person labeled Students with Disabilities reaching for a yellow balloon labeled Learning Grade Level Content. The bottom frame shows a pink cartoon person labeled Disability Specific Classrooms picking up the gray person who is looking at the pink person with distress and taking them away from the balloon. There were, of course, the positive comments as per usual. For example, grade level content should always be the goal, and with the right modifications and accommodations is possible. CP. Why are inclusive memes the best thing ever? A, B. Inclusive systems provide a better quality education for all children and are instrumental in changing discriminatory attitudes. Schools provide the context for a child's first relationship with the world outside their families, enabling the development of social relationships and interactions. KT. But the not so positive comments are the ones that I want to respond to, because people have some serious concerns about this idea that disability-specific classrooms hold back students with disabilities from learning grade-level content. And I want to address those concerns. Well, Tim, why didn't you just reply to their comment in the Facebook comment thread? Because this is way much more fun. Let's take this one first. Grade-level content may not be suitable for some individuals, SW. Now, I think what they meant was that grade level content may not be suitable if not given the right supports. I think even some teachers in disability specific classrooms get this. For instance, when I taught a segregated special education classroom for students with, quote, severe and profound intellectual disabilities, would I simply read a chapter out of the 5th grade textbook and expect everyone to understand and retain it the same way? No. I differentiated my instruction, which is what we are trained to do as teachers. I used visuals, we sang songs, we made models, we acted out plays, and we played games. All of these activities reinforce the grade level content, and even if everyone didn't comprehend it at the same level. This principle also works in general education classrooms, and I'll get back to this idea later. But the idea that some learners should not be expected to learn grade level content is setting the bar way too low. You've probably heard the term, the least dangerous assumption. Jen and Mira from the Instagram account Teaching is Intellectual just posted about this. Here's the idea. The least dangerous assumption about a student is that if they have poor educational performance, there is something wrong with the instruction, not that the student has deficits. But Tim, what if I know for sure that my student isn't getting it? Here's the thing. Sometimes we don't actually know what the student is getting, but we won't know unless we try. How about this one? Absolutely, but impossible when teachers don't have the support, training, experience, or in many cases, personal traits and skill sets to modify the curriculum enough to teach in this way. Then memes like this explained through a description just makes parents like me who ended up pulling their kids out of mainstream and disability-specific education after experiencing both to homeschool against the education department's set curriculum myself and successfully from years 7 to year 12 drives me crazy. We all know the issues, talk about them, create memes, and still the issues remain. I wasn't wasting another moment fighting a faulty system to make this happen, when the cost would be carried by my child for the rest of his life. If they couldn't and wouldn't do it, I would, and my child won. Maybe a third hand could be included in this meme that depicts the parents that make a decision at this point and gave up much to do it themselves because their child deserved better and they weren't prepared to wait for the system to be fixed. Not another minute longer. RS. First of all, kudos to this commenter for doing what they thought was right for their child. It sounds like it wasn't an easy path, but it was the best path for them. And yes, our system is faulty. But you would be surprised at how many people know it is faulty and don't do anything about it. I'm glad this commenter said they weren't going to wait around anymore. If you work in a school that continues to separate students by disability, we are here to show you that there is a better way. We want to stand with you as you speak up for more inclusive practices in your district. And if you want help or ideas on how to do that, my Zoom room is always open. Well, you know what I mean. Last one. Our son participated in regular classes with extensive support and extensive time out of class, but he never really truly was close to grade level content. Once he hit high school, it became impossible, though it was tried to get him involved with grade level content. For some children, it is simply not an option. That said, every child should be given as much support as possible to achieve this, with the understanding that proper accommodations be made for those who cannot achieve it. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. CB. While it's hard to read emotion and tone in a Facebook comment, I get the sense that this commenter feels like all the effort that was put into making the curriculum accessible for their son failed. And so, I guess, I'm very interested. Do you think it was worth it? I completely agree with their last statement that there is no one-size-fits-all solution. Is having a flexible system that meets the needs of all students using different levels of support a one-size-fits-all solution? I don't think so. I think that there is the ideal that we're striving for. And I want to get back to something I mentioned earlier about expecting students to learn grade level content and how it connects to the original meme. The meme's message very simply is that disability-specific classrooms make it hard for students to learn grade level content. I think that sentiment is universally true. In segregated special education classrooms, there's often a packaged curriculum that is loosely based or aligned to grade level standards. And if there isn't, the curriculum is defined by the district or special education department. In these classrooms, there are often 3 or 4 grade levels present at one time. When I was in the classroom, it was kindergarten through 5th grade. That means that teachers in these classrooms have to teach multiple grade levels of content across English language arts, math, science, and social studies. In general education classrooms, how many grade levels are educators expected to teach? 1, maybe 2 if there is a combination class. Do they even do that anymore? Teachers often have a grade level team where there is dedicated planning, common assessments, and use a curriculum pacing guide that they worked together in developing. If we were really concerned about having students with significant disabilities learn grade level content, why aren't special education teachers, especially in those disability-specific classrooms, invited to be part of those teams? Why do they constantly feel left out of professional development that would help them understand the content they're supposed to teach? Here's an idea. If you are an educator in one of these intellectual disability or autism classrooms and want to do something about this, ask to be part of the grade level team and see what happens. Or if you are a school administrator, invite the teacher of the autism classroom to be involved with grade level teams. You may not be able to dismantle segregated classrooms in your school or district, but we can start breaking down the barriers to the curriculum. And to me, that is progress. One more thing. In the comments, Sarah Taylor posted an article she wrote for Chalkbeat called, "My son has intellectual disabilities. He deserves a rich and challenging curriculum." Make sure you check it out. I can't tell you how happy seeing engagement on our posts makes me feel. Let's keep the conversation going around authentic, inclusive education and how to change the educational system to get there. If you ever want to talk about how you can make your school more inclusive, find more information at mcie.org or email me at tviegas@mcie.org. That's it for the video edition of the Weeklyish. I'm Tim Viegas. For more, subscribe to the Weeklyish, the newsletter for inclusionists, at weeklyish.substack.com. Want even more? Visit thinkinclusive.us, the official blog of MCIE. Please comment, like, and or subscribe. Thanks for your time and attention, and remember, inclusion always works.